This is an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kaura and George Mavros from Sydney.
Well, welcome again to another exciting series of episodes that we are covering on the CXOs, founders and co-founders. I think this is one of the most watched series when it comes to our podcast because of the increasing amount of interest people have around how does a founder think, what sort of challenges do they have. And we have had a whole heaps of founders and CEOs on this series. And some of them are, have shared really inspiring stories. Some of the episodes have been watched quite a lot on different channels by the audience, especially on LinkedIn, Apple iTunes, and Spotify. I'm pretty sure that this one is going to be another great listen for you all. So we're being joined by Catherine Mary from Today, and she's going to talk more about her startup and how she is being more resourceful as a startup founder, being bootstrapped. Now, that's a very interesting topic because I know a lot of founders out there who might know how to be resourceful or who might be finding ways or finding suggestions from others on how to be resourceful. So, Catherine, your suggestions to them might be very useful, and I'm looking forward to this episode. So why don't we start with a quick intro from your end? Because generally I wouldn't go into deep introductions. I would like the guests to introduce themselves. So you narrate your own 2-minute pitch to us.
Oh, no pressure. All right. Hi, I'm Catherine Mary said. I am co-founder and CEO of Good Day. We are based in Sydney, Australia. Good Day is a centralized booking SaaS and app that uses AI personal assistants to proactively organize bookings, events, and tasks between businesses and consumers. The problem that we aim to fix is twofold. So 80% of Australians and just people in general struggle to manage their personal life admin. So that means organising your personal bookings, events and tasks. And as a result, businesses are losing up to 30% in revenue due to customers forgetting and double booking and essentially cancelling last minute. So what we aim to do is to fill the white space that is kind of apparent between the two of a business and consumer, and using AI personal assistants to not only proactively organise but also act as liaisons between those two types of parties. And by doing so, we can streamline organisation and help both businesses and consumers be their most productive selves. So that's Good Day.
Very nice. Love the story. Now, what are some of the ways that you're using to be more resourceful while you're still trying to bootstrap your startup? What's your day-to-day look like as a startup founder now?
Yeah, so in terms of what my day-to-day looks like, I wake up early in the morning. I make my way over to Fishburners, which is an incubator situated in the middle of Sydney CBD. I, do what any person would do. I make a coffee, eat my food, sit down, work a lot. I have a team that expands by the day now, which is really great. So provide any support that I have there, apply for comps to try and attain some sort of funding, obviously investor meetings as well, product development, sales, literally any hat that's out there I will wear happily. And then in terms of how the day ends, I'll probably go home maybe 6, 7 p.m. and then just start working from my home office and then rinse and repeat. So that's a normal day for me. I think it's very similar for a lot of founders, nothing too special. In terms of being resourceful, so Good Day started with the idea, maybe it's easier to kind of explain the journey a bit more first before going into, why needing to be resourceful, if that's okay. Yeah, so essentially it was the first day of this year and I had absolutely no intention being in business, being an entrepreneur, startups, accelerators. I didn't even know what the word accelerator meant. I had no interest whatsoever. And I was very happy in my very nice job in government. I had studied political science. I was incredibly happy. But New Year's rolls around and I am not a very organized person in my own personal life. And I made my New Year's resolution, I'm going to be organized and productive this year. And so what I did, like many other people do when they have that type of New Year's resolution, is they go onto the App Store, they buy journals and, really invest in this new and improved you upon this self-reflection that happens, typically once a year on the first day. And I was very, very surprised and quite in shock to see that there was nothing out on the App Store nor physical journals that actually provided any innovation to help people be more productive, especially if they struggle with that skill set. And so I kind of had this shock moment of, oh no, I'm in pain. I'm causing other people pain because I'm forgetting things and I'm late and I'm double booking and I'm cancelling last minute. How am I going to solve this problem? Still had no interest whatsoever of being a business owner. It didn't happen to be, I have this problem, I'm going to fix it. It was just, oh no, I have this problem. And I couldn't fix it.
So basically, cut to this. Long story short, it was not planned for me to enter into the startup, but I really had this problem of struggling to be organized in my personal life. And like a month later, I saw executives at my place of work in government with their own personal assistants being proactive and compassionate in their service to help organize not only their professional lives, but also their personal. And I just thought to myself as a throwaway comment, as someone with this personal pain, I wish I could have my own proactive personal assistant that would solve all my problems. And then it was a bit of a light bulb moment of, well, what would that look like? And how would it work? And what would the functionality be? How would you communicate? How would the service be? And all of these kind of like fireworks started going off in my head, and I felt absolutely plagued by it because it wasn't just a throwaway idea, but I couldn't sleep for days. I was just like, is this a thing? Is this not a thing? It's not going to be like Siri or Google, or Alexa. It's got to be different. And that was the first mold of Good Day. It actually started as the name Maria, and it's evolved since then. That week I pitched what is now Good Day to two friends and said, I have this idea. I think you'd both be incredible to help me bring it to market. I don't know what's going on, but I think you should do this with me. And that was my first step of being resourceful, to go from a single person and to self-evaluate and go, well, if this does have legs, I know with my skill set and capabilities, specialising in political science and a bit of international business, but mostly politics, it's not going to get the job done. Who do I know who will? And it so happened to be, the two co-founders, one specialising in B2B Tech Sales, and the other one specialising in UX UI design, so product design, and doing her master's there. So I just kind of connected the puzzle pieces together, and that was the first week I thought of Good Day. Still the same co-founding team, still exceptionally happy with the co-founding team. We all work really well together, and we'd been friends for years prior. So that was the first kind of step of being resourceful. And then that week I contacted the University of Sydney as an alumni, and I said, I have this idea, I don't know, I think it's got legs, but I'd like to explore further. And they said to me in response, after I called and emailed, we actually have applications open right now for our Incubator Pre-Accelerator Program. And I had no idea what an accelerator was. I had no idea what a pre-accelerator was. So I actually had to start looking up these terms to become a bit more familiar with the business scene and the startup ecosystem. And that was my second step of being resourceful, because I'd never, ever felt so entitled to contact my university and ask for assistance ever. And yet it was an occurrence to me of, well, you said are very proud of their alumni. I've achieved quite a bit since leaving university, doing my degree here in global and international studies, majoring in international politics and international business. If this takes off, then they'll want to, speak about how I'm an alumni from their school. So perhaps they have some sort of resources to help existing alumni with kind of big ambitions get there. And that was true. So that was a lesson for me of, even if you don't know what the answer is, just ask anyways. And that's another kind of source of being resourceful on the journey. Anyways, I did the Pre-Accelerator Program for Good Day with the two co-founders, did over 100 interviews. The data confirmed the problem is the problem. The data tweaked the projected solution I had for Good Day to reform it from what was Maria to now what is something that I'm incredibly proud of and will actually solve the problem. And then it provided insights in regards to who are the customer base, how do we solve this problem across different levels and opposed to just singularly and not very well. So the Pre-Accelerator program is definitely the reason why I'm sitting here on this podcast today. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't have left my job, and it wouldn't have kicked off the domino effect of all the series of events that has caused me to be able to progress Good Day to what it is in such a short amount of time. So that started in March, I believe, and here we are in September. Since then, the week I finished the Pre-Accelerator program, I had been accepted somehow into Fishburner's AI pitch competition. I only had a few pitch slides of the problem and the solution based on what I completed at the Pre-Accelerator program. During that Pre-Accelerator program as well, I talked to all the mentors, constantly asked for as much advice as possible, listened to as many podcasts as possible. Being a fish way out of its, big water depth, it was really great for me to educate myself as much as possible. And anyways, ended up winning the AI pitch competition at Fishburner's People's Choice and coming second from the judges, which was insane to me given the fact that the other companies that had applied and got into that same stage were actual established AI companies selling, and at this point it was still just an idea at the end of the day. And they provided me with 3 months free working space at Fishburners as a result of winning, as well as $5,000 worth of credits from chartered accountants. And that was my next resource. Okay, so I now have 3 months of free working space. I'm still working at my old job. How can I coordinate to ensure that the 3 months I'm using at Fishburners is put to good use? Fishburners provide mentors, advisors, contacts, and since then, timing it at the right time, which I did, I've still got around another month and a half left at Fishburners, and it's already going so well being there. So that's just, I think, the context of the journey of being resourceful for me. In between those kind of really large milestones, as well as now actually being an Incubator University of Sydney's Accelerator program, which was another kind of source of resourcefulness with all of the contacts that it provides here. But I think for me, what's been concurrent to ensuring those large milestones are met is just asking the question, is this a possibility? Even though I'm not qualified to apply for an AI pitch competition against very technical people, just apply anyways, make room for yourself and see how far you can stretch the boundaries. And that seems to be really working for me.
Absolutely inspiring story, Catherine. And I feel there are a lot of insights in there. We can always go deep into each of the components of the thing that you just shared. But I want to include George as well in this conversation before I sabotage this episode and George feels that he's not part of it. So George, do you have any questions for Catherine on what she's doing?
Yeah. I'm always interested to ask this question of creators. So when you started this idea, you spent some time, the first thing is you got all excited and you thought it was great. Then you moved into, actually, I'm having myself on because this sort of stuff doesn't happen. Then you move back to, no, actually, I think it is possible we could do something. Now you're up and running and you're now hooked in. Did you have many people tell you all the very, very good reasons why it wouldn't work, couldn't work, shouldn't work, and won't work? Or was everybody that you met just so positive and uplifting to you?
I think it's definitely a mix of both. I've been very lucky and fortunate to be surrounded by incredibly supportive, friends, family, as well as strangers, advisors, mentors who have provided me with really comforting advice and navigation as Good Day progresses and been very supportive. There are some people, there's a lot of people that I cross paths with that get it straight away. And by it, I mean the vision that I see. And it does feel genuinely like visions. Like I get snapshots of just scenes in my mind of what the world's going to look like with Good Day in it. And it's really amazing to see other people see that too. It's a bit of a eye twinkle moment. However, there are definitely people who don't see what I see. And I think the way that I've been taking that is with as much grace as possible. I try and take everything with a sense of humor. I love to laugh. If anyone's ever met me, they'll pick up on that really quickly. I think you guys picked up on that straight away on the call. It's everything is funny when you look at it from a certain lens. And whenever someone were or does, present tense, tell me that it's not going to work, or they don't think the market's big enough, or they don't think that Good Day's competitive advantage is competitive enough, I always say to myself as a joke, everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. Like they'll get it. And I think there are enough stories across so many different spheres, to say the least, where people do make those mistakes, and we won't know until we know, right? Like if Good Day succeeds, then yeah, those opinions are mistakes. If Good Day doesn't, then perhaps they have some substance to them. But I think even there are stories where actors turn down roles because they don't get it, they don't think it's going to be successful, and then those movies end up making billions of dollars or being cult classics. And this is no different. If someone says that they think Good Day's great, then that's until Whoa, what happened there? Are we good to go? Is it?
Yeah, one of your
Everyone hear me?
competitors just cut your cable.
And here I am still standing. That's the real metaphor of Good Day and my type of startup style. But yeah, I just think that I take everything with a grain of salt. And if someone says that they love Good Day and they say it, then that's amazing. But I can't let that get to my head. And if someone says I don't get Good Day and it won't succeed, then I can't let that get to my head too. I think we'll know when we know, and it's only a matter of time before we do, right? Like, I think it's for the greater society to decide and businesses to decide if it's good. I don't think it's up to the opinion of a single person, myself included, but of course I'm in love with Good Day.
Cool. Many a time in business, the difference between a courageous decision and a stupid decision is just the result after it's been made.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly right. I think, again, there are so many different inspirations that we can take from so many different types of sectors where this story is told just in different ways. Like when we listen to musical artists as well, right? Even really big sensations, pop stars, Beyonce, Ariana Grande, I'm just thinking of Queen, like it doesn't matter what genre, when they put out an album, they themselves with this great track record are saying, well, will the masses like it? It doesn't matter what their production team thinks. It doesn't even matter what they personally think. Of course, it's their piece of art and that's sentimental. But at the end of the day, it's tyranny of the majority. And I think we're all just waiting to see what happens. And I think that's the most exciting part of this journey, for me personally, at least.
There's one of the legends of rugby league in Australia, a fellow by the name of Jonathan Thurston. And he was a junior football player, and he was told, you are too small and you are too light, you're never going to get anywhere.
Oh, I can't hear anyone.
Okay. Have you got us back now?
I can hear you both. Yeah, I'm just going to connect to my charger and hold my phone for a little bit, but yes.
Okay. So one of the greatest legends in football in the current era is a fellow by the name of Jonathan Thurston. And when he was in junior football, he was told, you're too small and you're too short. So small as in stature and too short as in height, you're never going to get anywhere, mate. He's destined to be one of the immortals of the game and has done some extraordinary things. So other people's short-sightedness should never, ever, ever limit anybody watching this your success. They don't. It's just their opinion. And again, I have made some decisions which people have told me were very courageous after the event, and I've made decisions that people have told me were stupid after the event, and the difference was the result.
That's so perfectly put. That's exactly right. It's just about the result. That's it.
So just for a bit of clarity or context, what is it about Good Day that is different to me having my my Outlook app, my PA, my whatever? what is it that Good Day brings to the table?
Yeah, so I think what Good Day does is essentially bridge the gap that's separating businesses and consumers and causing pain for both. So when we think about making a booking, hypothetically, let's say you want to go get dinner somewhere, that booking process is across multiple platforms, and then the admin that comes with that personally is, you got to confirm, you got to reschedule, you got to cancel, you got to inform contacts, you have to identify potential conflicts, think of alternative times. You need a consultant to ensure those alternative times are consistent with other people's alternative times. It is an incredibly complex, disjointed, outdated system that we use, and we use it because there hasn't been something better to say we don't need to anymore. Currently, when we look at organizational apps, they are very surface level, which is what I dealt with when I first went looking for them. When I had this problem on the first day of the new year, I said, I'm going to be better. And all I found were aesthetic versions of an Outlook calendar or a Google calendar, but in no way different in terms of functionality and in no way different in terms of innovation. They were just the same thing chewed up and spit back out. And I think that when we look at the problem at its core, if you are someone who's organized and Outlook and Google Calendar work for you, then that's wonderful. But if you are still managing to forget things or leave things to the last minute or cancel last minute or double book things between people, then trying to use these very surface level applications or physical journals that again continue to place the manual effort onto you don't solve those problems. But Good Day being a proactive automated application that connects those disjointed processes across and in one all-in-one app does solve the problem efficiently and effectively.
Right.
And one of the questions, Catherine, in continuation to that is a lot of the founders, when you talk to them, they might have a vision for the next 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, or maybe they're just saying, well, I'm just concerned about my present, and maybe just thinking about the next couple of months. I haven't really thought about where I want to see this idea after 5 years. So have you really thought about where you see Good Day after 1 year or 5 years or 10 years? Have you gone that deep till now?
It's all I think about, genuinely. If you see me staring at a white wall, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, it's just me daydreaming about the future with Good Day in it. I'm genuinely just obsessed with how bright it can make things. In my mind, in 5 years' time, where I'd like Good Day to be is, firstly, in terms of brand identity, I want Good Day to be synonymous with organization and productivity for both businesses and for consumers. I very similarly, and I know Canva does get brought up a lot, but it's just because it's iconic at what it's achieved. Canva is synonymous with design. When people think of design, Canva is kind of the name that pops up. But when people think of productivity, I don't think of anything specifically that goes, yep, that's the all-in-one kind of encompassing vision and brand that will help me get there. And I feel like the room that has allows Good Day to fit in perfectly if we play our cards right and strategic with our product functionality and design decisions. So that's the first kind of goal of, in 5 years' time, I want everyone to really know what Good Day is and associate it through that kind of positive lens. I also want Good Day to be not only ingrained in terms of reputation, but also in terms of routine. I think that if we can create a kind of like structure for people who don't have one right now in order to help them be productive and organized, as opposed to providing them with tools and not providing any support to help them, that's where Good Day kind of differentiates. And by doing it through a routine kind of design perspective, then we can actually embed ourselves within society and build trust and structure that can support a lot of people. So by that I mean, for example, with our AI personal assistants, they're actually animated to be humans and drink coffee while they're giving you the daily rundown of what you've got on for that day, for that week. Hey, George has rescheduled the dinner that you guys have together. I've already told his personal assistant what the alternative time works for you. Don't you worry, I haven't taken any time out of your own block of time that you keep for yourself. Like, to get to that level of service that people want to interact with Good Day on a daily basis, without feeling like it's taking a toll or it's a chore or it's something to tick off again on their day. I think that's the goal, to be so embedded and integrated into someone's day-to-day routine is where I want the day to be in 5 years' time, and it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I guess you talked about a lot of challenges before, Catherine. Is there any specific challenge that has been your topmost challenge, and why do you think so?
I think that it's not a challenge. Oh, well, it is and it's not. I think back to the purpose of this podcast and the thing behind it, being resourceful while bootstrapping is a requirement. While bootstrapping, I think funds, obviously do provide support, and at this point of time, we have yet to receive investment. I think that that doesn't come as a challenge per se, because we continue to drive forward and be scrappy and ensure that things are going to be delivered. But I definitely think that resources, specifically financial resources, do provide a boost to internal productivity and what can be achieved at a quicker time frame. With that said, though, we are moving exceptionally fast. Like I said, this idea started in February and it's September. We'll have our pilot ready in October. We'll be doing a hard launch on the first day of next year. So, resources or not, it doesn't stop anything. However, bootstrapping does limit my perception of how long I can bootstrap for until financial support is absolutely required. But I think, I don't know, I had a accelerator program cohort rundown only a few hours ago, and it's a problem across the board for so many startups as well. And I think that's perhaps a bigger discussion on the issue, because prior to actually getting into the startup ecosystem, I was advised that investors don't like to invest in startups unless you've gone all in and are bootstrapping. But even getting to that point, it seems that means absolutely nothing. And so I think just trying, again, to be as scrappy as possible through this challenge to push through it and get to the good result is where we're at right now. Otherwise, there are no challenges to Good Day itself. Good Day is thriving, which is really great.
One of the things, one of the final questions from my side before I pass it on to George for any final question from his side is, what do you see the role of these shared workspaces like Fishburners? We've got WeWork, we've got another workspace where I'm based out of, is Work Club. I feel that the shared workspaces is another way for you to become resourceful as a startup, because you're working with literally 100 more founders on the same floor or on the floor above you that you can meet over lunch, over coffee, and they might have their own set of challenges. And you might be like, I'm not the only one maybe facing the same challenge. There's another person doing it in a different way. And you might eventually get some new ideas from them on how they're doing marketing of their product or what sort of things that they're doing with their team. Have you found working in a shared working space as one of the resourceful things?
Absolutely. I think that it's been amazing. I always say you are.
I'm saying that the CEO of Fishburners, Martin, would love that. We're promoting Fishburners here.
Do you hear that, Martin? I'm your sponsor. Everyone go to Fishburners. It is a really great community. Firstly, the staff are amazing too. Martin and everyone in his team, I am always, applauding for their absolute compassion and attentive service to each and every person and startup in Fishburners. I think that what Fishburners got really right is the atmosphere and the tone that they set between startups. I think that collaboration is encouraged, whether or not you're actually doing anything similar between the two. So, for example, only last week did I asked for advice from a founder of a startup that is so different to what Good Day is in terms of sector, in terms of tech, but the lessons that were transferable were still applicable, and it was in regards to strategic partnerships and what would you do in this situation, and that happens all the time, and vice versa. I think as well that it's a really, small world after all, 6 degrees of separation, being at Fishburners and building these not only partnerships but friendships between people in such a small community does drive progression, given that the stakeholder engagement is connected through warm introductions, and that's really exceptionally helpful. I also think, I was going to say this before as well, I think, and I've always thought, you are who you hang out with. I think we've seen that from, friendship standpoints. I think it goes exactly the same way for being in an environment where you want to thrive and you want to work exceptionally hard and you want to push your body, your mind, and your emotions to the limit, which is what starting a startup is. It is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to do, by far. And being in the trenches with everyone else who's doing it too kind of creates this sense of camaraderie and I don't know, it feeds off in terms of energy between people, whether or not you're going through the exact same thing at the exact same time. Everyone's gone through it too. So it definitely is amazing. I will always respect Fishburners for what it's given me, and I don't think Good Day would be nearly as progressed as it is without Fishburners.
Absolutely. I think that's the true power of working based out of a shared workspace, that you can meet new people, get energized, get motivated from them. It's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you see others working out, you feel like working out like them, you feel like working even harder than them. And I think that's the whole concept of the shared workspace, which I'm a big fan of. Off to you, George, if you have any final questions for Catherine.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know, Catherine, growing up and moving into your uni days and things like that, who was it in business and in life that was sort of inspiring to you? Who was the people that gave you the buzz that wow, that's something else? Like for me, Martin Luther King, Richard Branson, Dick Smith, people like that, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Gandhi. Those were the people that sort of really did something for me. Probably Bob Proctor, who's a personal development person, but he was just he just had an energy about him. So who was it that you went wow, or you think had a leaning on, other than family and friends? I'm talking about who are some names that people would say, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I have so many, particularly women, that come to mind. I'm just going to list them off, and then maybe I'll pick one of my favorites. Yep. As I referenced before, Melanie Perkins, Whitney Wolfe Herd, so Melanie Perkins, founder of Canva, Whitney Wolfe Herd, founder of Bumble, Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, Oprah, Michelle Obama. And I think I have to put at the top tier Julia Gillard. It's absolutely no comment on politics. It's just a comment on integrity and in the work that's been achieved. Greta Thunberg, pardon. Oh, gosh, there's so many women that come to mind straight away. I think, though, Julia Gillard, for me, kind of turned a lot of tables in my mind when she did the very famous misogyny speech. I don't know if you both are familiar, but Julia Gillard, in Question Time in Parliament, yes, she did this iconic speech, which is still regarded as iconic to this day and shows up in a lot of marches in terms of signage and quotes. But I think for her to stand up for herself and entrust who she is as a person in a time and place where the misogyny was just ridiculous towards her time in Parliament, and how she kind of rose above it with a single speech, I think says a lot about the power of words and the power of actions. And along with all those other women, incredible women that I named, I think when we look at how we create positive transformative change in the world, it's by putting yourself out there fearlessly and shamelessly, and standing by your words and your decisions. So all of those women that I listed have done that and have created really great strides. I think as well, specifically with women in leadership positions, there's always a pathway that takes place afterwards. So for example, there's so many examples of just how representation, creates more representation. But for myself, being a female founder and being in Fishburners, I have quite a few interns and quite a few of them are females, and being able to bring more females into that co-working space and open up not only doors, but the actual perception of proportional representation in those types of ecosystems, I think is so incredibly important. And again, demonstrates how, seeing someone else do it can help you believe that you can do it too. And I think all of those women leaders that I mentioned have definitely inspired me in that capacity.
Oh, good. There's some good names you mentioned in there. One of them in particular for me is Greta Thunberg, because I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what she says, because I think she says a lot of stuff, but she doesn't give the answer to the problem that she raises, which comes up. But the thing that impresses me about her is I don't necessarily agree with her, but I admire her. I love the fact that she gets it. And when I can not necessarily agree with your point of view, but admire that you can articulate it, you've got the courage for it and all of that, that to me tells me that you're somebody that I respect. And yeah, she's copped a lot of flack over the years, but I think a lot of the flack has been a sad indictment on humanity, because there's a term which says playing the man, not the ball. Well, in this case, playing the young lady, not the topic. But yeah, very. I remember the first time I saw her, and I thought, wow, just. Yeah.
Especially as well, just her age.
I thought, yeah, hang on. There's a whole lot of stuff that's easy to say, but the problem's not that easy to fix it. But wow, and I think we need more people like that.
Absolutely. I think I completely agree. Even looking at how she started is a great case study, right? Because she started with a sign alone on the street at, forgive me, I'm not sure if it was 9 years old, but I think it was sometime exceptionally young. Pretty young. And again, that goes back to my point of putting yourself out there fearlessly and unapologetically and standing by your values and your integrity as a person and what you believe in. And I think that, it's been incredible to see how other people associate with values now more than ever. And even those people that you listed, George, are very value driven. And I think that when we look at people who unapologetically stand by their values, you start to build communities quite quickly and respect whether or not you align with those values either. So I completely agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing all those wonderful names. And I think another one to that list can be Malala from Pakistan, who fought against Taliban and all the things that Taliban was doing to stop women from getting educated. At a young age, she got shot, I think, on her head. And she was hospitalized for so long, and then she came out and she fought for the rights of women in South Asia, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all these areas. So, people like that are always an inspiration for everyone. You have something to say there, George?
No. Just when you mentioned her name, I was just saying, yes, just another extraordinary young lady.
She is.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you so much, Catherine. Appreciate your time and everything that you've shared today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as we did. And from the bottom of our heart, we want to thank you for taking your time today and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you both. It was lovely.
Thank you.
This is an Ultimate Global Podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kora and George Mavros from Sydney.